and welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm here with amazing comedian and podcaster.
No, pasta too. I'm also
and pasta.
living piece of pasta.
She's
Honestly,
a living pasta.
I am boring and beige. I am like a noodle.
Claire Parker, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for being here. I haven't seen you in forever. How's it going?
It's going good. I honestly can't complain. I'm just hanging out.
Your life is on the up and up. You're fucking killing it.
It's one of those things where I am like, wow, my life is as good as it's ever been. But that's because like 3 years ago, I was like a temp doing open mics in Queens. So when you start very low in life, just having insurance, I'm like, wow, I've made it.
I totally feel you.
It's really easy, to be like, I'm crushing it when the bar is low.
So you have this podcast that's amazing, Celebrity Memoir Book Club. So I'm like partially nervous to talk to you about your podcast because I'm one of those people.
You're illiterate. You can't read.
I can't. Not only can I not read, I don't know who anyone is. I want to be like, Claire, what's your favorite memoir? And you're going to tell me, I'm going to be like, who is that?
No, I mean, we do pretty big celebrities. Like, I'm sure you've heard of Jessica Simpson.
Who? No.
Everybody has a memoir. Every celebrity has a memoir. I hate all of them. I don't like celebrity memoirs. Everyone's like, what's your favorite? And I'm like, I hate them. I hate them as a genre. I read one a week, so I'm fully burnt out. I don't care about any of these people anymore. And then also, they're all like ghostwritten. They're all like following an agenda. The only ones who are really being honest are men, but that's because they're like so fucking sick in the head they don't know what they're doing is literally illegal and rape. And so now you're just reading somebody's true account of the time they raped somebody, but they're like, isn't that fucking cool? And you're like, not really. I actually don't think. So it's a slog, but our whole thing is we read the book so that you don't have to. So if you listen to the episode, we read the book and in like an hour and a half we summarize it for you. And then also we kind of read in between the lines and give you our hot takes on what we think is true and what we think is bullshit. So you don't have to read the book. So you don't have to know how to read to listen to our podcast.
Thank God. Thank God. Was there ever, like, what is the craziest, like, most groundbreaking moment so far in recording your podcast where you're like, holy shit, you called up your co-host Ashley and you're like, what is going on?
I mean, all of them are so insane. The thing about celebrities, I think especially child stars, is they lose all sense of what's normal. So even when they're lying to you and pretending to be relatable, they forget what's relatable. Okay. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what's normal and what's not normal to say. And so they're all just fucking insane. Every single one of them has something bananas in it, even if it's subtle. Even if it, like, you don't even, they'll have a throwaway line and you're like, oh, you're so crazy, you didn't even know to hide that.
I feel like, honestly, that's kind of what makes certain comedians funny is that they're so in their own world, they don't even realize that their throwaway crowd work or their throwaway lines are batshit fucking insane.
That's my favorite thing about seeing people like at open mics when they're bombing, and then they say one thing by accident that's funny, and watching them try to figure out what was funny about that, and they're so out of it that they're like, okay, something in there was funny, I'm gonna try to figure out what it was, and you're like, you can't figure it out. You're only funny by mistake.
Exactly.
You can only be funny in spite of yourself, and you'll never get it back, because when you go back and try to even say the exact same line word for word, you're not gonna understand what was funny about it.
Right, it takes like this level of self-awareness that they can't access. That's nuts. Do you ever notice, like you mentioned that there's a lot of ghostwriting, do you ever notice like maybe like a similar voice? Like, whoa, I think this was like ghostwritten by the same person.
I mean, a lot of them will credit their ghostwriter, so it's pretty easy to track, but there's a specific ghostwriter who works with like reality TV star women. Mm-hmm. And so we read Chriselle Staus, who's from Selling Sunset. We read Stassi, bless you.
Thank you.
We did Stassi from Vanderpump Rules, and then we did Jen Atkin, who's a celebrity hairstylist, and I think there was a fourth one that we read by her. And basically this woman has essentially like a Microsoft Word template that she uses for everybody's. And it's like she tells a story, and then at the end of the chapter, she does bullet points of what the takeaways were from that chapter. So she basically gives you a spark notes of the book you're in the middle of reading, and they all have that construction, and they all have a specific theme.
Okay.
So one literally was a construction theme, and then everything was like housing tip, and it would be like architect puns, but verbatim reiterating what they had just said in the book. And then another one was like, it was blown away because she was a hairstylist. And so it was like stylist tip. And like they all look the same.
Right. Do you like that style, or is it just like too obvious?
I like it from the perspective of tend to read them all in a morning before we record.
Ooh,
so
cool.
those take about 2 hours to read.
Wow, I'm impressed with your speed reading.
I mean, it is literally my job at this point. And I actually do have a degree in English.
Cool.
So it is fun to all the people who are like, well, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, actually, I pay my rent every month with my English degree. So fuck you. I run a literal book reading podcast.
That's fucking awesome.
So haha to everyone.
Do you ever think like, you know what? Maybe one day I'm going to write a memoir about having a podcast about memoirs?
I think about it every day because I couldn't at this point. I've been so like viciously cruel to people that for me to write a book, I would just be too insecure. It's a real double-edged sword of being a bitch, I think. It's like when you're so publicly judgmental of everyone, you're frozen because you're like, what if people said this about me? So I feel like I could only write a memoir if between now and death I became like president. Because one of my big things is that I'm like, don't fucking write a memoir unless you're interesting. And I don't know that I'm interesting enough to write a memoir.
Really? Do you feel like all of these people are interesting? Like,
no, but I think their books suck.
Yeah.
That's the premise of my podcast.
I feel like, do you think there takes a certain level of narcissism to write a memoir? Like,
It's not narcissism. So right now in the publishing industry, it's what I'm calling like merch, book merch. And so it's no different than when Harry Styles does a collab with nail polish or if Hannah Montana has a backpack. Basically, the publishing industry is dying. And so one of their last gasps of air is they're throwing all this money at celebrities. And they're assuming if you can sell 10,000 t-shirts with your name on it, why couldn't you sell a book? And it's almost like a companion piece. Like if you went to a concert, you might get the booklet or whatever. It's kind of like that. So I consider it celeb merch as opposed to a real book.
Okay.
And like not all of them. Like some of them are real books. Molly Shannon wrote a real book. Viola Davis wrote a real book. Jeanette McCurdy was probably our biggest episode of all time.
Right.
She wrote a real ass book. But if you're a reality TV star, if you're a Bachelor contestant, if you're, I don't know, just some friggin' idiot, it's less a book and more merch. And how they do it, these publishing companies will come to you and be like, we think you could sell X amount of books. We will give you this advance. It strokes their ego because who doesn't want to be an author or a New York Times bestseller? So they send you a interviewer, basically. The author comes and interviews you for 6 hours. They spend one day with you.
wow.
You tell them everything you can think of.
Exhausting.
They, in 3 months, write the book and send it back to you completed, and then you kind of just sign off on it.
Can all these people read though? Like, do any of them have like, all right, I'm going to actually need you to read it to me as well because I'm exhausted?
I mean, they might have assistants that they're handing it off to. I think the big one that people are so shocked by are when comedians write books. I'm sure that they're having other people write it.
Right.
Because you think about like an Amy Schumer book or a Tina Fey book. It's a lot of work to write a book.
Yeah.
Most authors who are professional authors, they spend a year writing a book. And so if you're a celebrity with a TV show, a movie, you're doing a national tour, and then you're doing all your other brand events, you don't have time that year to write a book. So if a celebrity is at the height of their fame coming out with a book, that means someone else wrote a book. And with a comedian who has a TV show like Amy or Tina, they have an entire staff of writers whose full-time job it is to be trained to be able to write in their voice. So of course they're going to hand that book off because someone else knows how to write just like them.
Right. Okay, so this is what I want to really talk to you
Yes,
about.
please.
My father.
Yeah,
He is a guy.
sure.
He's just a dude.
Of course. Aren't they all?
He's my dad. I never talk about him.
Okay.
Ever. He was an English teacher. I'm sure you don't know him though. And anyway.
No, I know all of them.
Yeah.
That's part of my podcast.
He wrote a memoir.
No way.
Yes, he did. He's not a celebrity, of course. He wrote a memoir. He's just a guy who wrote a memoir. He spent, I don't know, years writing it. Promise you there was no ghostwriter. He spent like his life writing this memoir. Like this is his life, okay? He can't get it published because, you know, he's not a celebrity or whatever. So I have so many questions for you.
Yeah.
Because you know everything about memoirs.
I know everything about celebrity memoirs. I mean, hit me with your questions. I'll honestly tell you what I know.
I love this. Okay, so my dad, this is like his life's work is like to publish a book. Like my whole childhood was my dad going to this like basement that we rented like 2 blocks away, sitting there, turning off his phone and being like, don't talk to me, I'm writing my memoir. Okay.
Beautiful.
Love this for us. Now I'm like, Dad, just like publish it yourself. Like put it on Amazon. Like all the cool kids are doing it. And he's like, no. It's not respected, correct?
Correct. I mean, so I have a mom who's an artist who comes from a very old school, like way of being a painter. And I also say to her all the time, I'm like, people love your work. You just put it on Instagram and sell it yourself. And she's like, absolutely not. There's respectability at play.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We have that, right?
So I agree. If you're,
I think the put it out though.
I feel you, but I also, the thing about it is, and you know this from being a comedian.
Yeah.
I think the whole internet and stuff, it's been amazing for reducing gatekeeping, and anybody who wants to put in the work can do anything.
Right.
Anyone can get on Instagram and start putting out their little clips and become a comedian. Anyone can become an artist. Anyone can become a writer by doing all the self-promotion. I'm sure you know from being stand-up, like if you want to be a successful stand-up, you better learn how to do your own PR. You better learn how to do your own podcast. You better learn how to do your own social media.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to do logistics. You have to do so much of this shit yourself. And I think when you're young, you can do that. But I think the generations before us, if you want to be a writer, what you want to do is write.
Yeah.
And somebody else does the marketing for you. So I do understand that it's a whole second job. And if you don't want to take on a whole second job, then you just have to figure out a different way. But I will say, you can hope it works out, or you can guarantee it works out by doing it yourself.
Right. What do you think the differences are between someone who's like not famous writing a memoir and someone who's like had this fucking famous life where there's like, sure, maybe they have nothing to say, but like there are like a fucking cult of people obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Like, what are the differences there?
I would say probably how well it's written. I think a celebrity has what I call, there's like the Wikipedia style memoir, which is like a Dave Grohl I read. And it's kind of like, and then in 1997, I was in Nirvana, and this is where we went, and this is who I met, and here's the story of the time I got to work with the Beatles, and here's the story of the time I got to meet Anthony Kiedis. Like, you know what I mean? It's basically just like a lot of, if you went through Wikipedia, all the clickable links, and it's just a list of those things. And I think if you love this person, you are kind of like, yeah, what was the story behind that?
Right.
And like, how did you get into guitar, and how did you end up in this band? And you kind of want to just know the plot points.
Right.
I think a non-celebrity memoir is showing and sharing the human experience. So it actually doesn't matter if it was exciting or interesting. It's about helping people to feel less alone in their own human experience, which I think as a reader is a more important, enjoyable book. I kind of get burnt out and bored of and then we did this, and then we met him, and then we sang this song, and then we went to this performance, and that's when this caught on fire, and that was crazy. And I'm just like, if you don't really care about that band or that actor or that celebrity, it means nothing.
Right.
So the books I'm actually the most interested in, the celebrity memoirs we read, are the ones of people who have obviously gone to therapy and can look back and actually read it less like a celebrity and more like a regular person, just trying to make sense of their experience on the planet.
Can you like name a few of those?
So surprisingly, the Bella twins from the WWE.
I have no idea who this is.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it's a very niche group.
That is niche.
They had their own show on E! Called
Are they
Total
women
Divas.
or men?
They're women.
Okay,
They're
cool.
these two hot, the Bella twins. They're Bella.
Lovely.
They're beautiful. And they actually had a surprisingly really good book because they were very clear about being like, this is what our upbringing was like. Here were the struggles for us. Here's how we worked on ourselves. And here's the wisdom we can impart upon you. And it was actually really beautiful. And it was about like their relationship with their parents and stuff and each other. That was a really good book. Who else was really good? I mean, Viola Davis, Molly Shannon's book was really good. Jeanette McCurdy's book was really interesting.
So women.
I'm trying to think if there was any good men books. Danny Trejo's was incredible. Do you know him? You would if you saw his face. He's like a super old Mexican dude. He was the uncle in Spy Kids. He's everywhere. If you saw him, you would know him. He had an incredible book because he is somebody who's constantly trying to work on himself. He didn't even become an actor till he was like 40. He was like a drug addict who spent 10 years in prison and then got out, got sober, and dedicated his life to helping other people get off drugs. For 20 years he did that. And then he randomly became an actor and he blew up and he became very successful. And then he opened like a taco store and a donut store.
Cool.
And he's still like every day, at the end of the book, he's 76 and just learning about toxic masculinity and being like, oh my God, do I have that? I should work on it. And so that kind of stuff is interesting. People who genuinely want to self-reflect.
Cool. Do you feel like people still read?
Yeah, I do actually. There's like because of my podcast, I'm on like Book Talk on TikTok and stuff, and there it is. I will say, I feel like back in the day when people read a lot, I don't know that they were reading good books. There's a lot of porn out there.
Right.
There's a lot of shitty books out there. Do you know what I mean? I think the definition that by any book is better than any movie or something or any TV show is kind of ridiculous. There's some really shitty books, as I prove, because every week I read a shitty book.
But I feel like it's still like better for your brain and better for like your
maybe.
attention span.
It's probably better for your attention span.
But I mean, I don't even know why it matters, but I feel like,
Yeah, what are you going to do with all that attention?
yeah. What are you going to pay attention to, huh?
There's nothing out there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I sit down and read a book, but because I have to. Whereas when I watch TV, I'm also on TikTok.
Right. I feel like I can't watch TV without like also looking at other things sometimes. Yeah. What do you think the best advice you've ever received is?
Okay, I received this advice just this week, and I was like, this is spot on. I'm planning a wedding right now.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's whatever. But the advice, okay, so it's like two parts. One is know the difference between when somebody's looking for like approval and support versus advice. I think that advice about advice is when somebody's like, oh my God, what do you think about this? Try and figure out if they're looking for you to say, oh my God, I love it, or actually giving feedback. Because a lot of times people are just looking for you to be like, yeah, I love it, because they've already bought it. The other thing is if it can't be changed in 3 minutes, don't say anything.
Oh, okay.
I recently took a photo of an outfit and sent it to my friend because I thought I looked cute. And she was just like, those pants are out of style. Do you like wear this pant instead? And I was already walking out the door. And the pair of pants she suggested, I just like straight up didn't own. It's like Adam Sandler style shorts that are like past your knees. And I'm just like, well, I don't have that. And she's like, well, what you're wearing is out of style. And I'm just like, okay. You've ruined my dinner now. I literally sat at dinner like in a funk. And I wouldn't if I just had to say anything. And I also am like, okay, maybe she felt that way. But I think, like, she knew I didn't own those pants. What was I supposed to do?
And why would she even say that?
Yeah, just say, yeah, you look cute.
Yeah.
Or if you have to be like, oh my God, do you have X? I think it would like also look really cute with this. But yeah, I think if it can't be changed in 3 minutes, just don't tell people.
Yeah.
If it's not like an eyeliner smudge, leave it alone.
I think that if it's not an eyeliner smudge, leave it alone is great advice. Think about the way you talk to people too.
I mean, yeah, if you're shopping for like a prom dress and you're in the store and you haven't bought it yet, you can be like, oh, this isn't my favorite. But if you're on your way to a wedding with a dress in tow and on the airplane, somebody's like, yeah, it actually isn't flattering. What the fuck are you supposed to do at that point?
Yeah, and also why even say that?
But people do, because you'll be like, oh, I don't know about the dress I'm wearing. And people will be like, yeah, you're right. I don't know if it's so cute on you. And you're just like, okay, well, we land in 4 hours and I have no other options.
Thank you. I totally feel that. Okay, so you're planning a wedding. You're engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you told me he's not in comedy, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
How did you meet him?
We actually met working together. It was like my last day job. I was a receptionist and he worked there. So.
That's awesome. So you don't wear an engagement ring?
No.
Okay. I was engaged and I
remember that.
Yes. Just a quick little blip in time. And I felt embarrassed wearing an engagement ring when I was on stage.
The thing about stand-up is people are judging you in a snap second, and I think to have some giant ring is not what I want people to know about me. I like walking around. I like that when I tell people I'm engaged, they're like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, why would you? It has nothing to do with most of the conversations I'm having.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable having a giant, conspicuous display of wealth on my hand. I don't wear much jewelry, and if I do, it's very petite. Same. The idea of having something super expensive feels insane. It just wasn't my style. That being said, I'm a complete hypocrite because... So I am wearing a ring now, but I bought this on Instagram. It's supposed to be my wedding band, but I bought it like a year in advance. And then it got delivered and I was like, well, I'll just try it on. And then I didn't know if I liked it or not. And so I'm like, I can't tell if I just don't like it or if I'm not used to wearing it. So I just wore it for a weekend to see if like I could get used to it. And then I just never took it off.
Oh.
And my parents are really freaked out. They're like, you can't wear your wedding band before you're married. I'm like, whatever.
It's really pretty.
Thank you.
I like it a lot.
It's just like little. It felt bulky to me, but people are like, that's insane. It's obviously not bulky.
No, it's cute.
Very small. But I didn't know about the high profile, which I'm not obsessed with. But
no, I like it a lot.
Thank you. So there you go. So I am, even though I don't have an engagement ring, I am preemptively wearing a wedding ring.
I feel this. I honestly, like, I did the same thing where like I had this engagement ring. It was like a solitaire cut. And I felt like it was like awkward because like it would just like popped up so high. And I was like, this isn't my style. It was too much. I don't wear any jewelry at all. Like I wear these like 2 necklaces every day that I don't take off. But other than that, I'm just like, blah.
It's a lot on your hand.
It's too much.
It's also weird.
I always like turn it inside.
Yes.
So the jewel
Even
is like
this,
inside.
sometimes I turn inside when it's like too much because I'm like, it's just a simple band. Nobody notices this. I like being out and about and not being defined first and foremost by
like your relationship status.
It's very bizarre to me. And like, it's not
like men don't have to do that. So I bought like a simple like silver band just to be like, yeah, like, look, I'm still like being like, yes, I'm in a relationship, but I don't want to like be defined by this right now.
Also, it's, I feel that exact same way, especially when you're hanging out with comedians. The idea of having something something expensive in my hand and hanging out with people who
that are
like,
broke as fuck.
Yeah, so broke. It just made me uncomfortable. I don't want to get on stage. Yeah, I just don't want that to be the first thing you know about me. And I bring it up. Like, if you know me at all, it doesn't not come up. We live together. We're engaged. Like, it's a big part of my life. But I do think if I go into a business meeting, if I don't know, if I meet somebody new, I don't want that to be all there is about me. Or like the most obvious. That's not my most defining quality.
I feel that. I also feel like I want it to be, well, engagement rings are like a surprise. So it's not like you can be like, oh, cute. That's like not what I would have picked out, but like, thank you.
Well, that's the other thing is I was just like, it's so stressful, the idea of having something you have to wear with everything. The other thing is mine wasn't a surprise. I told him to propose.
What did you say?
Well, like, I don't understand these people who have no idea that it's coming. I'm like, don't you talk about your relationship in your future? I am an equal participant in my own fucking life.
Totally.
So, like, when we moved in together, it was very understood that we were moving in together with the idea that if this goes well, we'll get engaged. And I'd always been like, what is important to you before you get married? And for me, it was being financially stable as a comedian. Mm-hmm. And then that happened last spring, and I'm like a year or two older than him. So it happened, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I feel solid as an adult now. We can get married. And just kind of, and I knew that it would take a while to plan a wedding. It takes like a full year.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, okay, maybe I'm not ready to get married next week, but I know by like next year I'll be ready. And so I was just kind of like, okay, I'm ready to get married. He's not doing anything. He has, you know what I mean? He's just chilling. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter that much to him. Like, I actually asked him, when would you have proposed if I hadn't told you? And he was like, next year. And I'm like, that's fine. It doesn't matter to you. It mattered to me. I don't have time next year to plan a wedding. I think I'm going to be pretty busy. My like career is going well, and I just don't have time to plan a party next year. I do this year. And then we'll take off. And also, I like want the insurance. So it worked out. I just told him. It wasn't a surprise. There was like a 1 hour window when I didn't know exactly in that window when it was going to happen. But
Where were you when he proposed?
We were in like Como.
Oh my God, that's so nice. Italy.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
It was cute. His family actually has a house there.
Oh.
And then my parents were there. Like, they had invited my whole family out. And so I was kind of like, listen, we have this opportunity where we will be in Lake Como.
You're like, this is our proposal and how it's gonna
with
go.
both sets of parents and my grandma. It's the right time. If you like, you could not do it then, but it feels like a platter has been handed to you with a perfect engagement on it.
Did he use that ring?
No.
He didn't use a ring?
He used like a cute, so he gave me this necklace that says his name.
I like that.
Because I wanted like a nameplate necklace. And then he had like a cute little toy ring that he gave me. And then this I did buy like a month later because I saw it on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I need a wedding ring. And then once it arrived, I just couldn't not put it on.
It's so cute.
And I was just like, what am I going to let it sit in a box for a year? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm very impulsive. I'm like, I wanted to get engaged. We were engaged like 4 weeks later. I wanted the ring. I have the ring on now. Like, I don't know. If I want something, I want it now.
I feel the same way.
And I'm not interested in playing that game where I spend like a year being like, is it coming? Is it coming? I'm like, no. If I want to get engaged, we'll either get engaged right now or you'll tell me what your timeline is and we'll have a conversation about it. But I'm not going to sit here and not know what my fucking future looks like. That's insane.
I feel the same way. Also, like, if I want to get engaged to someone and they're not down, I'm like, okay, well, I suppose I'll go.
Yeah, I kind of like, if he had like a reason, if he had, because he is like 2 years younger than me, and if he had been like, well, I would like to be able to do X, or I think this would be, I would have been open to that. It's not like I put a gun to his head and said, get engaged.
Of course.
But I think the timing wasn't as important to him, and it kind of just a flip switch to me, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. And unless you have a real reason for why you're not ready, I want what I want when I want it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Where's the wedding going to be?
In Brooklyn.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
I am excited. It's going to be fun.
It's so funny because I feel like I'm honestly glad that my engagement didn't work out because I feel like I did everything wrong. Like, I don't want to feel like, okay, I feel like we got engaged too quickly. How long were you guys together before you got engaged?
Like over 3 years.
Oh my God. See, that's literally the perfect amount of time.
Yeah, and I think we've been living together for like a year and a half. So
your parents
like the pandemic.
were like, yeah. I feel like I was with this guy for like not long enough.
And weren't you, how old were you?
I was like 24, 25.
Okay, so like I'm going to be 30 in a few weeks.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm like
perfect.
30, getting engaged. I'll get married right before I turn 31.
It's amazing.
I feel like I'm very old. Like, I feel like people are like, oh my God, you're engaged. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm like 30.
That's not old. That's like the perfect timeline,
Yeah.
especially for New York. That's like a New York timeline.
Yeah.
I feel like when people are like in successful relationships in New York, I'm like, I'm so impressed. They always live in Brooklyn though.
Yeah, and he's Canadian, and I feel like that's key.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it's hard to find, like, because in New York, I feel like people are always like, oh, there's going to be something better. And I'm like, you guys understand there's not, right?
Yeah, and also it's just like, I don't know. It's exhausting out there.
Disgusting out there.
Part of me is I'm like, if I'm single, it'd be fine. And then I see my friends come back with these stories. I'm like, what the fuck is happening out there?
It's crazy. That's awesome.
Are you on Raya?
No.
You just date meeting people?
I went on Raya and I went on like 3 dates with this guy and it was just disastrous. I feel like I had to like trust my gut with what was happening because, you know, when you're like, oh, I feel like this should be right. But then you're just like, no, it's not. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh, like this makes sense. But like your gut is like, no, I don't know. I feel like it's like, I'm also in this place where I'm just like trying to focus on myself.
Oh my God, how's it going?
It's pretty good.
Good luck. It's hard. Are you a serial monogamous? I'm just guessing by Instagram. I don't really know you, so I feel like I don't want to overstep a boundary, but I see you on Instagram.
I am a serial monogamous for sure.
And it's hard to get out of that pattern because then you're just like, well, this one I really like, but there's always one that you really like that feels different. I've been in that pattern. I know people in that part. It's hard to break, and then I think you break it. And like the 1 year that I was single was probably the best year of my life in terms of like career growth and like hanging out with my friends and just having fun and just healthiness. Because this is so stupid, but the amount of time you spend just like laying in bed waiting for someone else to wake up, you lose months. You lose months of your life just being like, are you up? No. Okay, I'll fall back asleep. And then you wake up and they're like, well, I've been up. And you're like, okay, well, I was up hours ago. And that is like a lot of the relationship is just waiting for someone else to wake up. And meanwhile, if you're single, you can wake up and go get breakfast or go for a run or fucking write jokes or do almost anything that you want to do. And it's very productive.
This is definitely the longest I've ever been single. Like, I feel like I've been single since the end of January. And
amazing.
What is it? Fucking
September. You almost made it a year.
What?
You make it a year and you're good. You can just fall into the arms of whoever stops you on the street next.
But it's just like, I think I do this thing, like when I feel like, since I grew up in like a very broken home with like a very broken family, like career is the most important.
Was that in the memoir?
No, it was not in the memoir.
Interesting.
God damn it. But I feel like maybe he focused on the memoir instead. But but I feel like I always like value like creating my own family. So if I feel like I see that in my future, I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna put everything into this relationship. And I think I lose myself in relationships. And it's like, it's so tempting for me to be like, I have a lot going on in my life. Like I have my career, I have myself, I have things that make me feel like me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to not do these things that make me feel like me so that I can put more energy into this relationship, even though I know that it's actually like hurting the relationship to not be my full self.
It's hard. I mean, I wouldn't even say I have like that exact problem, but I'm lazy. And so like I'm in a relationship and it's just those couple of extra minutes of being like, well, I could go get started on my stand-up or I could go hang out at the stand or I can go do whatever. I'm kind of like, well, I could just sit here on the couch with you. And like something that happens all the time now that my boyfriend works from home a lot is I'll like go see if he wants to get lunch real quick. And he'll be like, yeah, give me 5 minutes. I need to finish this email. And then I sit and I end up waiting for 40 minutes just because he's like, oh shit, something came up. And instead of using that 40 minutes to work on my own thing, I'm just sitting there on TikTok waiting for him. And then we go get lunch. And now I've lost like 2 hours. Whereas I think... But that happens on like at every level. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like every 5 minutes ends up being an hour. And I never say, oh, okay, you have to focus on your thing now. Whereas if he's like, oh, do you want to get lunch? I'm like, yeah, fuck this. Fuck editing this podcast. Let's go get lunch. And it's really hard for me to be committed to my work because I just would rather. But that's
but on the other side,
thing.
The other side, like I think that stability, that like love in your home and like that side is so important to happiness and like in being able to put yourself into your work. Like I think you need to be happy and you need to have that support system to be successful. So I think it's like being able to have that balance. Like I feel like I need to be able to be like, all right, I value myself. I value what I'm doing. So like, hey, I know you're free right now and I could spend time with you, but I have to stream right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stream. It's hard because like I make my own schedule. Like I stream on Twitch,
I mean,
right?
same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I make my own schedule every week, right? So I'm like, I stream on Twitch. So I could hang out with you, but I know that I need to stream on Twitch because streaming on Twitch makes me feel like me because that's my community, that's my people, and that's what I like to do. So I'm going to do the thing that I need to do, even though I know I could, like, so it's kind of like that.
It's hard. And I also think for women in stand-up, it's such a weird schedule and it's such a weird like art form. I don't want to say art form, but like the idea that you're going out every night and hanging out with strangers at a bar and kind of like getting on stage and trying to get them to like you. It's really hard to find somebody who's cool with that.
It is.
It's really hard for people, for like men to understand that from 7 p.m. till midnight is when I'm busiest. I'm going to be at a bar. All of my friends are going to be guys probably. And like I'm lucky because my boyfriend's very trusting and very supportive, so it's not a problem for us. And also when we met, he was working till midnight anyway. So it did it like I couldn't have hung out with him that night, and that's kind of why it worked at the beginning, I think. And then the pandemic hit and it didn't matter. But it's really hard to date like non-comedians or people who have normal working hours because they don't understand why you're always with a random pack of guys in a basement.
Whoopsie.
And you're like, this is my passion. This is my career.
Yeah, and I feel like I need to like be with someone that like can go out of their like my schedule is so fucking insane. Like if you're gonna be with me, you're gonna have to go out of your way to like make it work. And like I'll go out of my way too, but like my schedule is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and the other thing is like if we go out of our way, we're losing out on career stuff. If you go out of your way, you're what? Like not watching TV at night? Like it is.
Yeah, fucking drive, bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's an interesting.
Do you want to be a touring comedian forever?
Forever. I mean, I want to have a family one day. Like I want to have a family once can provide like very stable financial situation. Like I think family is the most important thing to me. I want to be like successful in my career, but I want to have a family. Like I feel like I'm supposed to be a mom.
That's really cute. Because I remember realizing what being like a touring comic contained or like what it meant logistically and being like, oh, that sounds like a fucking nightmare. And it's like a really weird moment in time to realize that everything that you've worked towards, if you succeed at it, you'll be in hell.
Yeah.
The idea of spending like Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Oklahoma every weekend forever, I was like, oh, that's hell.
It is super lonely. Like, okay, there's one thing where like I love traveling. I love like
not to where we travel for comedy.
Yeah, I like seeing like the way how people live. It's like so fucking different because I've only ever really lived in New York. I spent 9 months in LA, but other than that, like I've only lived in New York. So I'm like, I mean, it's interesting to me to see the way other people live, and I like that. But then it's like brutally lonely, and then I find myself like very much indulging in my online community, which is great. But also, I'm like, whoa, the only people I talk to are online, and like that also feels like it feels great, but it also I get sad because I'm like, oh, I miss human contact, and I get lonely, and then. Dude, when I was in Indiana, I was just like, I felt so isolated and so alone. I did my shows, and then the fire alarm was going off till like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep all night. I was like in the hotel lobby, like 4 a.m. with like a bunch of people that also couldn't sleep because the fire alarm was going off all night. And then I had to like fly back, and I was exhausted. And it's just like this exhausting, like lonely time.
Well, that's the thing is when you're traveling a lot, I really do feel like your whole life feels like you're playing catch up. You're like, well, I have to get home and do my laundry. Yeah. And then you're always just trying to like get back into your routine and feel like yourself, and then you leave again, and you're just like, I don't know what my real life is. I feel like I keep waiting for my real life to like begin. It always feels like the week before school starts in the fall or something, and you're like, no, this is it. If I don't like, this is the life. So I have to figure out. I don't know.
I always feel like first of all, I live in my mom's basement, so I'm like waiting until I'm like, when am I gonna have like my apartment that's gonna be like where I feel like home, and when am I gonna have like I don't know, like I date guys, and I'm like, I just want my life. Like I'm like, when am I gonna have like my life that feels like consistent and real and like good, and like I know I'm like on the up, but I want to feel like I'm like building like a real, because I'm literally like where I live is, if you see where I live, that's like the most vulnerable thing you could see about me, because it's like a fucking tornado hit. Like it's just like maybe seem slightly put together on the outside, but it's like crazy because I just like stop in for a second, like throw my clothes in the fucking laundry machine, and then I'm like, ah. It's like hard. I just want some sort of consistency or normalcy in my life at some point to come. Like I'm like, in 6 months, I'll have a clean room that'll be above ground with a window.
I'm the queen of every week. I have a checklist of like, here's the new things I'm going to implement in my life, and my life will be totally different. And then I make it 2 days and it's over. I'm like, from now on, I'm waking up at 7:30 every morning and I'll work out first thing. And it's like Tuesday and I've already fucked it up. And
yeah. Do you ever just wonder, like, okay, I know I'm alive one time, and I'm like, what do I want as like my day to day for my life? Because I'm alive one time. What do I want my fucking day to be? Like, am I actually happy with like what I'm doing with my day to day? Like, am I working towards something, or am I living right now what I'm working towards?
Yeah, it's hard. You have to like every day check in a little bit. Because I also feel like no matter what you do, it's not, you know what I mean? If you have the mindset of this isn't what I want, if this is what I'm working towards something else. Because if you had that consistency every day, you'd be like, ugh, I want a career where I'm excited and challenged and I'm traveling and I'm doing fun, cool things every day and I'm busy. But then when you're living that life, you're like, this is so chaotic. I wish I had my stability. And so I feel like it is all just about checking in every day and being like, just I'm so grateful to get to do all these things. And when I'm resting, it's fun. And when I'm not, it's fun. I don't know. It's, you know what I mean? You have to like just change the mindset. Otherwise, you'll never be happy.
Some balance.
Yeah, just find balance and be like, fun. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard.
Crazy life. All right. Like, is it time to pull a tarot card?
Yeah, pull a tarot card.
Let's
Who's
pull a
it
tarot
for?
card.
Is it for you or for me?
Okay, so
or for
basically,
us or for this
it
podcast?
is for us. It's for the episode of the podcast. I like to
Okay.
pull a tarot card, see if it like encapsulates the energy of the podcast. This is a new deck, and I've had it for a while, but I've been waiting to like, who's a good guest for this?
Me.
I thought you'd be good. This is the
Was
Modern
I?
Witch. Yeah.
Do you think I lived up to the new deck hype?
Well, I have a bunch of new decks. I
okay.
picked the deck based on like who the guest is.
And I seem witchy.
Well, no, this is like hardcore feminine energy. Just
Hell yeah.
like
I feel like I have a very masculine energy, actually.
what? Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I think because I'm very confrontational and I'm kind of aggressive, and I think I'm not like I'm emotional and that I get like angry, but I don't know that I'm like, I don't know. I know I hurt people's feelings a lot, and I feel like my feelings don't get hurt a lot. And then also I have like a strong jawline. I feel like I'm very muscular, like a dude.
What's your astrological sign?
I'm a Libra, but nobody ever guesses it. Everybody on TikTok is always like, you're such an Aries. You're such a Sagittarius. Like nobody ever guesses my.
Do you know your rising and your moon sign?
Not off the top of my head. I always like know it and then lose it.
Do you feel like you have a bigger female or male audience?
I definitely have a bigger female audience, but all my audience is from like my friendship with Ashley.
Yeah.
And I'd say in our friendship, who's my co-host, Ashley, and in our friendship, I feel like I'm much more of like the aggressive man.
See, I feel like I identify with you in a lot of ways, like from afar. Like I don't know you that well. I mean, I feel like this is like the longest we've talked, which I like a lot. But I feel like you and Ashley seem to have this like very solid long-term relationship. And I've never been able to have like a solid female relationship with a comic.
Well, that's our whole fucking podcast is about female friendship. That's what we wanted to do, and that's like secretly what we talk about, because we feel like nobody talks about female friendship. Female friendship is way harder than dating. There's so many dating podcasts. We tried to do a friendship podcast and it broke us apart because we just ended up, it was called We're in a Fight with Claire and Ashley. And it was basically about like women get into fights, dude, and nobody knows how to handle them because of
Women are evil.
but also like there's just so many, like nobody will admit that they're mad, and now you just have this like underlying resentment that goes on for years, but you're stuck in a group chat with somebody and it's like always rearing its head, or like you were best friends in kindergarten, your moms are still friends, so for whatever reason, even though you have nothing in common, this woman, you're her maid of honor. Like it's just very complicated, these dynamics, and like what the definition of friendship is for women. Whereas like my boyfriend could not see someone for 10 years and they fucking play Call of Duty. And I'm like, did you know he's married? And he's like, oh, I had no idea. He's my best friend. And I'm like, what is a friend to you? And it's tricky. And like, we talk all the time about like friendship breakups, and like, it's hard. It's like a whole other bag of fish. But I mean, we fight a ton, and I'd say we're almost more like siblings in that we really do like get mad at each other. And I mean, over the summer, there was probably been 3 separate instances where we ended up like yelling at each other. Like we will scream at each other, but I will say I have a lot of flaws, but I will sincerely apologize. Like I'm not going to pretend I'm not wrong if I'm wrong. And I don't want to hurt your feelings. If I was mad in the moment, I'll come back the next day and be like, I'm sorry, I was being a bitch. Like I should have said it nicer or something. So I don't know. We make up.
See, that sounds like a real genuine friendship. I feel like in comedy, it's been hard for me because I feel like there's like a mixed
Well, you're all competition.
intention behind the friendship. So I'm like, oh, I feel like, does this person really want to be my friend, or are they using me? So then if there is like an argument or we fuck up or something like that and there's an apology, it's like really hard to gauge like how genuine someone is being or how genuine the friendship is. Whereas I feel like, I'm like, wow, you guys are like, I feel like there aren't that many women in comedy that appear to have as solid of a friendship as you and Ashley.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I could be
I mean, I've had falling outs with, I could tell you like 3 female comics where it's been, I've been like, what the fuck?
You're just like, you're like, how could you have done this to
And I'm
me?
just like, act normal. What the hell
Like, how could you have acted this way? Like, this hurts. Like,
It's weird. Comedy is weird because it's like high school and that we're all hanging out all the time, but now we're all adults, but like we're all on different pages and we're all kind of competitive. And it's a very bizarre, it's weird.
yeah. It's a bunch of traumatized people just being like, bah! But yeah, I think that's awesome that you guys are able to do that. Okay, can you put some energy? Do you want to shuffle this deck?
Yeah. I feel like you'd be a good mom. I could totally see you being a mom.
Oh, thanks.
I feel like you do secretly have like mom energy.
I do have mom energy. You should see me with my dog.
Okay, here's my shuffles.
Cool. All right, what are we gonna pull? I hope this book is good. I want to get to the point where like I don't have to read from the book, but I'm not 100% there yet.
It looks like a lot of cards.
It is a lot of cards. All right. The 5 of Wands. It was upside down, but I'm not going to read it upside down. That it gives it like a different meaning, but
We don't have time.
I'm not that good. Okay. 5 of Wands. Their wands raised high. This girl gang is engaged in battle, ready to defend their position and fight one another. Well, it's kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
It could just be friendly competition or it could get ugly, but either way, it'll be exhausting. Competition is fierce and the obstacles are many. We don't love that. It is what we were discussing, though.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to say this is like the content, not the context.
Yeah.
Like we were literally talking about women fighting each other.
We were discussing that.
And the deck got mistaken.
The deck was
well, it was
frightened.
also upside down.
It was upside down, which lessens the meaning a little bit.
So that's, yeah. So it was about literally.
We don't love this card. Do we pull another card?
Yeah, you pull one.
Okay, do we reshuffle? Okay, we redo. Sometimes we're like, no, I didn't like that one.
Wasn't, listen, we get to choose our own fate.
We do.
We're proactive women.
Okay. Love it. Okay. Why is everything upside down? The Ace of Swords is cool. Okay, Ace of Swords. A rush of clarity and inspiration comes with the beginning of this journey. You may feel as though your thoughts are racing constantly, the wheels are turning, and you've reached a revelation. This is just the beginning of a difficult path, though, and you'll need all your wits and reason about you to see it through.
I'll take it. I'll
Okay.
take that one.
Okay, yeah, we're just beginning our fucking celebrity memoir. Okay.
Seriously. We always say, like, what was your celebrity memoir this week? What was your chapter? So it's true. I feel like we're all on the beginning of our journey. It's only going up.
Is that what you say? What do you mean when you say that?
Like, we do our little intro of what did you do this week, kind of. And it's like, what would you call your chapter this week?
What would you call your chapter this week?
I mean, it's only Monday, so it's tough. It's a tough one, but I actually have a very busy week coming up. We have 2 live shows in Philly and DC, so
That's awesome.
I'm excited, yeah.
For the live shows, do you guys do stand-up or do you?
yeah, we do 15 minutes of stand-up each, and then we do like an essay by a celebrity. So we do kind of like a mini episode live, and then we do a really fun thing at the end where all of the audience gets to put a random piece of paper with whatever they want, whatever topic they want, in a bucket, and we pull them blind, and we do a minute rant each on that topic.
So wait, so they put in like and then you just rant on the.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
cool.
could be like Serena Williams, and we'll pull it out and just off the top of our head talk for a minute.
That's awesome.
And it's fun. Yeah.
Yay, that's super cool. Well, Claire, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
Where can
you
people
for having
find
me.
you?
Well, my podcast is Celebrity Memoir Book Club, and then I'm Claire the Scare on everything. So CLAIRE the Scare on all the social media.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And as always, you can find me at Natalie Cuomo _ on Instagram, at Natalie Cuomo on everything else, and join the Patreon for extra content, patreon.com/Natalie Cuomo. We'll see you next week. Bye.